he is insane. Like,
Um,
is he an
you
anime character in somehow human form? Like, is that
unless we're talking about Golden Boy, I don't want to hear it.
oh that anime?
She said, "Oh, that anime."
Yeah,
Did you hear the judgment in her voice?
it wasn't judgment. I was like,
Oh, oh,
why are
that
you
anime.
talking about that anime? It's from like 1987.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's a shame it only got 2 seasons. It should have a Dragon Ball Z run.
My favorite part of that anime, again, we're not talking about football, but my favorite part of that anime is where he's observing his boss who is speaking in English on the phone in the office that they're at, and he's like, "Oh wow, she's so amazing! Like she's completely fluent in English," and the woman is just speaking like extremely broken, terrible English. Like the Japanese voice actor seemed to be playing it up for like, "Oh, this guy's an idiot who doesn't know about anything." But
I
yeah.
mean, that for me is a lot of a lot of anime. Forget Japanese. It's a lot of anime. It's just that we're
Anyway,
we're we're leaning into the bit in a different way.
so who do you think is going to win the national championship? Are we far enough along that I can ask you that?
Well, I'm already getting yelled at for saying that Ohio State might have the best defense of the 21st century, if not all time.
But
Even
they're
Ohio State fans are like,
good.
"Yo, dog, for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for real, for real." They're giving up 5.5 points per game. How is that compared to other teams? Well, 2011 Alabama has the best defense that we've seen basically in the national championship era in the 21st century, and they gave up 8.2 points per game. Now, there are 2 ways to look at this. You could say Ohio State ain't played nobody, in which case, okay, sure, Washington doesn't do it for you, but Texas does, and they held them to 7 points. They're also not allowing people to score touchdowns in the red zone, which is really big. They still haven't given up one of those. And they're able to play incredible pass defense against teams that want to throw the football. So for now, I believe that the Buckeyes are the clear number 1 team in the country by some margin. And it doesn't feel like anybody's going to challenge them until they got to play Penn State later this year. But they have treated Penn State a lot like Oklahoma has treated Oklahoma State. They just beat their ass. And Penn State, no matter what time it is, finds a way to lose a football game to a team that is ranked inside the top 10 because that's just who they are. Now, Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan since 2019, and that's going to be the one. Because even last year, they were supposed to stomp a mud hole in Michigan and walk it dry. They weren't able to do that. They still won the national championship, right? But they weren't able to do it. So today, as it was more or less at the start of the season, Ohio State is my pick to win the national championship. Now, who's going to play them in the national championship is an even more interesting question.
Mm. So, who do you think is going to play them?
Well, it ain't going to be Clemson.
Well, obviously,
I mean,
as I said, they're just not even. I feel like I
uh,
cursed them or something, but
no. You should know that Clemson has been new money for like 15 years. So
mm,
Clemson won 1 national championship from the time it started playing college football until 2015. And it was in 1981. And it's kind of like we voted on who the national champion is, which is one of the stupidest things that we've ever done in this sport is vote on who wins what. I hate it. But now we have a tournament to decide this. And Clemson has won that tournament twice. And they have been very good under Dabo Sweeney, who does it his way. If there's an East Coast version of Mike Gundy, it's that guy who will remind you every chance he gets how many games he's won, how many championships he's won, how good they have been, all because he's been the head coach. Last year, in an epic radio call, back when Dabo Sweeney still took calls from the public at his coach's show, which frankly are always one of the coolest things in the world. And I hate that they went away because you got somebody out there who's loaded up for bear coming after this coach that they let through. So last year, it was Tyler from Spartanburg who asked Dabo Sweeney why it is that he gets paid $11+ million for was not a great product on the football field and doesn't amount to winning championships. Now, they came back and they won a championship, but Dabo went in for 5 minutes on Tyler from Spartanburg and ends with, you can come down and apply for the job.
Whoa.
And now I got to believe that Tyler from Spartanburg is going, see, I told y'all this guy ain't. In large part because Dabo wants to do it his way, and his way's been working. And is a really difficult man to tell. The bootstrap story doesn't work because it worked for him, and it worked for him in a dramatic way. This man who shared a dorm bed, not a dorm room, a dorm bed with his mama at the University of Alabama while playing football, and then was going to go sell used cars after college when the head coach, Gene Stallings, said, no, you should come be a grad assistant for me. And that's how he got started coaching football. Then he became the wide receivers coach at Clemson. They fired the head coach, in which case he does what every other coach would do when he comes home. He tells his wife, we got fired today. Because usually what happens is they clean house, right? The head coach gets fired, everybody else gets fired. But they made him the interim, which is essentially the dead man walking. You have to carry this to the end. But he turned that team into a winner, and in such a way that they said, we're going to give you the job. So not only did he become a head coach, he became a head coach without the step of needing to be a coordinator first, which is still really, really difficult to do. And then he went on a tear of winning heretofore unforeseen by a man with his credentials. So you can't tell that man nothing. He believes that because he did it, you can do it. And I keep telling people that white privilege is real, and that just because you did it your way doesn't mean everybody else can do it your way. And this is a man like many folks that believe, no, I did it, and I'm a regular person. No, you're not a regular person, and I need you to stop saying that. Now, we have this conversation writ large about a lot of different topics, but with Clemson, it becomes personal in a hurry, because Clemson, and I think I have this right, is a town of something like 17,000 people. I think they've got a larger student body than they've got a population in that city. So much so that people are shocked to find out that Clemson, South Carolina, is in fact where Clemson is. What do you tell them? What do you tell people about going to Death Valley, which is real, right? That's what they call the stadium, and it earned its nickname. You go into this hole in the ground that's humid and hot and abrasive to all that are not raised in it or work in it. And the humidity is heavy on your head, and you can't understand what is this voodoo, this mojo that they got going over here. And all they can tell you is, we're just little old Clemson. You ain't got to worry about us. And then they go to whooping your whole ass. So this 1-3 Clemson could very well end up being a 9-3 Clemson, and they could very well end up playing the ACC championship. But for that to happen, we need some carnage. Georgia Tech's undefeated. Florida State took a loss to Virginia. Virginia might be legit. We're not sure. Florida State might be legit. We're not sure, because Alabama went into Georgia and beat Georgia, which makes them the first team to beat Georgia at Georgia in damn near 5 years. It's really remarkable. They're also the only team that's been able to beat Georgia consistently. Like, Kirby Smart is something like 1-10 against Alabama in particular, but he's got a gargantuanly awesome record against everybody else. That same Alabama team lost to Florida State. Okay. Florida State beat that Alabama team at home. Florida State gets Miami at home. So is the mojo working when they're playing at Doak Campbell? We'll find out this Saturday. Then Georgia Tech, who beat Colorado and beat Clemson, needed overtime to beat winless Wake Forest, who's sorry and sucks, but is also in the ACC, a program that is trying to figure out what it's going to be in the new college football. All while Virginia Tech has fired its head coach in Brent Pry. UNC and North Carolina suck, but they got Bill Belichick. And if Bill Belichick can go beat Dabo, Sweeney, and Clemson, it's going to get way worse for Clemson. It'll be about the same for Bill Belichick in North Carolina, who's got, his homegirl. She calling the shots. She walking up there talking about what she going to do and what they're not going to do while they being sorry. And all toward the middle of this particular conference, you've got teams like SMU, you've got teams like Cal. You got other teams that could pop up and do something. We're not sure what the ACC is or isn't. We just know that right now, Clemson's off to its worst start that we've ever seen for Dabo Sweeney, and it's really easy to say that they're dead in the water. when they've been a back half team for like the last 5 years. Like they'll
Mm.
find a reason or find a way to go win. We think, because they're just too talented. Like there are 4 players on their team that should get selected in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Like that, they're that talented. They just ain't been able to play fundamentally sound football for 4 quarters, which is another reason to bet on them. That aside, Miami's got some generational talents of themselves, of their own, and they got a defensive line that might be as good as the NFC North. Ruben Bain is a monster. Don't want that dude coming off the age after me, because he does feel like, a Batman villain. Carson Beck's fine. They've got a couple of dudes at wide receiver that can play, but we'll find out. That's the big game on the schedule this week. I'm not sure that Florida State has enough to contend with that defensive line. Tommy Castellano likes to be out there making magic happen with his feet. But the problem with having a quarterback that makes magic with his feet is much more likely to get hurt. See John Mateer. If Ruben Bain and them get a hold of him, it's not going to be pretty. And I'm not sure that they got anybody behind him that he trusts. So we'll find out. Today, I'm picking Miami, but that doesn't make me special, right? That just means I'm picking the higher ranked team, the undefeated team. Outside of that, we'll see. We'll see.
See, all of what you just said and everything is like one of the reasons I really love like coming on here and talking to you about football stuff, because like I can watch some of the games and like read who's won and that sort of thing, but I don't have like a lot of context for what is happening like this season as opposed to previous seasons. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's like Clemson losing. I'm like, I thought they like my vague impression of them was that they were like pretty good, and now you're explaining to me like why they're, it's just nice. Anyway, that's fun.
I appreciate having utility in my job, Kate. I think that's the reason why people watch this show, is providing context. Okay, so we have covered Miami, Florida State. We talked a little bit about Ohio State, who's going to beat the crap out of Minnesota. Oklahoma's got Kent State, but we're not really going to talk about that. The question I think is most interesting to go out on is, why do all of the preseason Heisman finalists suck? Arch Manning is not great. Garrett Nussmeier is not great. DJ Lagway sucks. Cade Klubnik sucks. Drew Aller is garbage. Why do you think all of these grown-ass men have not been as good as Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, John Mateer at Oklahoma, Fernando Mendoza at Indiana?